Hi Wildcats, this is a tutorial on some of the notes of Unit 8 Focus Question 2. What's the relationship between mass, force, and acceleration? So let's start with this picture. This student is applying the same force. The vector arrows are the same for force. So the same force, but the objects that force is applied to have different masses. So in this case, it is a car, and in this case, a lawnmower. And we can see that, and I think we know from experience, if I apply the same force, say 10 newtons, to a very massive object like a car, the acceleration of it is going to be very small. Whereas if I take that same force, 10 newtons, and apply it to an object that is less massive, acceleration will be much greater. And so what we can take from that is that if I have the same force but different masses, then I will have different accelerations. And if we stop and think about it, what we see is that as mass increases, acceleration decreases. So the greater the mass, the less acceleration. Less mass, more acceleration, assuming force is held constant. So that tells us that there's an inverse relationship between mass and acceleration. Conversely, if I have the same mass but I increase the force, that would also give me different accelerations. So here I have two objects, or the same object, same mass. Here I apply a force of, say, 1 newton, and here I apply a force of 2 newtons. If I apply a greater force to this object, it will speed up or accelerate or change its velocities at a greater rate. In other words, it will accelerate more. So what we can say is that if mass is the same but force changes, then so does acceleration. And we see that that must be a direct relationship. As force increases, assuming mass stays the same, acceleration also goes up. And if we put those two things together, that mass and acceleration are inverse and acceleration and force are direct, then we get what is Newton's second law. So Newton's second law, Newton said acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the net force acting on the object and inversely proportional to the object's mass. If we want to put that in an equation, we would say acceleration is equal to the net force, so they're directly related, and it's inversely related to mass. So as net force increases, acceleration increases. As mass increases, acceleration decreases. And this is what's known as Newton's second law. We oftentimes see this rearranged algebraically to say force is equal to mass times acceleration. And that's the same thing because it's just algebra, but ultimately what Newton's conclusion was about was how force and mass affect the acceleration of an object. So here we can see if I have a 3 kilogram object, so its mass is 3 kilograms, and I apply a force of 12 newtons to it, it would just be 12 divided by 3, or its acceleration would be 4 meters per second per second. So Newton's second law says that when a force is applied to a mass, that object accelerates. The greater the force, the greater the acceleration. The greater the mass, the less the acceleration, assuming the other variable stays constant. This is something that you actually already knew. We learned this, I just didn't tell you it specifically, but we've known this for a while now. We know that the force of gravity, we've done this many times, the force of gravity of an object is just its mass times acceleration due to gravity or its weight. You've done that 50 times now in class. And so the equation is Newton's second law. The force is equal to the object's mass times the acceleration due to gravity. And we know on Earth this is always negative 9.81 meters per second squared. So you secretly learned this, we just didn't explicitly call it Newton's second law. You also learned this before, right? We know a newton, which is the unit for force, is equal to a kilogram, the unit of mass, times meters per second squared, the unit for acceleration. So again, force is equal to mass times acceleration, or we could say, if we rearrange this algebraically, acceleration is equal to force divided by the object's mass. So see, you're smarter than you even realized. You knew this, and we didn't say it explicitly. So what does that mean? Well, the implications of that are many. Assuming the force is the same, I like this picture. So here's me applying some force, call it 50 newtons, to an object like a golf ball, which has a teeny tiny little mass. it will have a great acceleration and that golf ball will fly. If I decided to, instead of hitting a golf ball, hit a truck, that seems like something I would do, with that same force, the mass of the truck is much greater, and so its acceleration would be tiny, in fact probably so tiny, the truck would not move, my arms would break, etc., etc. We can see this example with this cart, right? Here this student is applying a force to this empty cart, so it has a small mass, and acceleration is some number. If we add mass to it, the acceleration goes down if the force stays the same. And so for a more massive object, if I want it to accelerate greater, I have to apply a greater force. Again, Newton's second law. Here's another example, right? If I apply a force to a very massive object like a brick wall, that would hurt. If I apply it to a much less massive object, the same force, the object will accelerate, whereas here this wall is definitely not going to accelerate. So in short, that is Newton's second law and some of the implications of it. An important thing to consider, here's another example. We see here these two students. This one is giving himself a hernia while pulling on this very massive object. Assuming these two students are applying the same force, this student's object is much less massive, the rock is much less massive, and as a result it will accelerate. This student has a much more massive one, and it probably isn't accelerating depending on the force they're applying because it is more massive. And we know that mass is inversely related to acceleration if force is constant. So its acceleration would be small or zero. This student apparently thinks this is all very funny, that he's injuring himself, and he's amazed by the fact that such a force can pull such an object. But really, we know it's just Newton's second law. One last thing to consider here, and this is an important one. Acceleration is equal to net force. So not a single force, but a net force. So what we'll find is that when more than one force is applied, we need to consider what is the net force. That may mean that we're going to have to resolve for what is the net force, like we did in focus question 1, where we have to sum up all the forces. It may work out that some of these forces are at an angle, or it could be that the resultant of them is at an angle. So that would mean the stuff that we've done before with sine and cosine and tangent and Pythagorean theorem would all come into play as we determine the net force. So when you can't use Newton's second law until you determine what the net force is. If there's only one force, like in this picture, the student pulling on it, I guess there would actually be friction as well, right? So in that case, we would need to know what's the net force between the force applied and the force of friction, and whatever that value is, that would be the net force that we would put into Newton's second law. So I hope that helps. Again, there are videos available as well as the text. Use those resources as you fill out your guiding questions, and then once you feel you have a good understanding of the concepts, try applying them in the practice problems.